All right. Check, check, check. Is this thing on? We are live. I haven't done a live stream into the group in a minute, it seems like. So, what's up, everybody? When you get here, say something, drop an emoji, do something to let us know that you're watching. Let me switch this over to comments. Good, so that we can see people as they come in. I'm going to turn the volume down on my phone and then... Whoops, there we go. This is that. Tech is so cool. All right, so cool. Say hi. Cool. Say hi when you join in. Don't be afraid. Hi, Janine Hartsfield. Nice to see you. Okay, as promised, I have Kimberly and Goddess Andrea with me, who both went from not knowing anything, I'd say, about how to show up on social media. Is that fair to say?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kimberly, what about you? Is that fair to say?
I think that's more than a little fair. I think that's a very generous description.
Okay, good. And both of you guys have, the reason I asked both of you to join me is because you both have the ability, I'm going to say, to simply trust and do what is suggested. And the reason that's important is because so many people don't have that. And when it comes to learning something like, how do I market myself on social media? There is a ton of, well, let me do about 60 or 70% of what you're telling me, but then let me secretly also do what I think is probably best. Right? Which if you're the person teaching, that's a frustrating situation to watch. Andrea, what was your experience from when we first met till now?
Oh, I'm going to say really just showing up. But the video for me was my biggest challenge. Doing lives, getting on video. I kind of knew how to implement some stuff, but because the videos are so important, that was my biggest struggle and what I've overcome is that I've been able to show up in who I am.
Yeah. Let's go a little deeper into that, specifically the part about showing up as who you are, because in your case, you were afraid to do that.
I was really afraid.
You were afraid. Really. And if anybody was to go and look at your profile now, I would invite all of you guys. By the way, if you're here, say something. I see you guys lurking. There's a little icon that shows me people are watching. I invite you guys to go look at Andrea's profile, and you will see someone that it looks like has been doing this for years. I want to dig in a little bit to what your process of leaning into that was, if possible.
I had taken a few courses and like online marketing stuff or whatever, and it just didn't work out for me, or I didn't understand it. And then when I joined your group, Manny, I'll give you all the kudos to this, because you said, just follow this. And so I sat down and wrote it out, and I was like, I had that little brain in my head going, oh, well, someone else had said this, and then I'd have to stop myself and just say, no, we're going to follow this one thing. And within like a month, everything had turned, like my social media had blown up.
Yeah.
And I've got engagement and people looking at me, and it was just exactly like you said, don't listen to anybody else, follow one system and implement. You have to implement. You can't just sit around.
Yeah, totally. It has been, Bridget is on here. So I'm going to mention the little voice in your head, that told you not to do this and not to do that. Bridget has named that little voice Dick Dollop.
Thanks, Bridget.
Yeah. Hey, Jessica Suzanne Dugas, how are you? That's the name for the angry little editor in our heads, AKA the imposter syndrome voice, AKA the whatever, the negative self-talk. And it will scream and claw and writhe and rend its garments to get you to not do things out of your comfort zone. It's ridiculous what it will tell us. And by the way, I've got news for you guys. Once you get pretty good at identifying what it tells you, it then switches to this other level where it's not even on the conscious, like words going through your head level. It's just these impulses and they show up and disappear really fast. And it's really hard to pinpoint. So when it comes to like outsmarting or acting in spite of that tendency, new level, new devil. It does not go away. It just changes the way it shows up. Kimberly, let's talk about you for a second.
Sure.
Okay, good. What has been the most significant change in thinking for you?
I would say for myself, the most since we've started, working together, and since I've started, as Andrea said, actually implementing the systems that are being taught, I would say my biggest thing, my biggest enemy has actually been myself, in terms of putting myself out there. And you referenced imposter syndrome. I know that that's something that I have really struggled with, and it is sometimes it's a daily battle. To be able to
totally.
But I feel a lot better about actually being able to be equipped with the tools to say to that voice in my head, like, no, like, you do know what you're doing. Look at these results you're getting. Look at what people are saying. Like, when you focus on the positive rather than focusing on the negative, it really dims down that negative self-talk voice. And that for me has been the biggest change, and one of the most important.
So with that, I know that your thought process going into things was, why would somebody who's older than me trust me to be the expert at what I do? Right?
Yes.
We talked about that quite a bit. One thing that I'll say at a public group level here is that both of you guys and I have had fairly consistent communication other than just the coaching. Like honestly, with Andrea, I sort of positively put you on the spot a lot because I felt like you really had something, and I felt like, how are you going to be a sex and intimacy coach who's afraid to show up on video? Like, you got to get over that.
The push,
we've had, I don't know, 6 or 7 different little chats that were spontaneous, but it worked. It worked. And then Kimberly, you, for those of you guys that don't know, Kimberly works on the team. She is an appointment setter for us here at the Client Creation Method. And so you and I talk a lot, pretty much daily.
Yes. Almost on a daily basis. It's nice. Yeah. It's nice.
I like it too. But one of the things was, I have a natural curiosity. Let me say hi to everybody first. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Chip. Mered, Jessica, Bridget, Janine. Okay, good. Said hi to everybody who I can see. Some of you guys haven't said hi yet. Don't think we don't know, because we do. You lurkers, we know you're there. Anyway, and here's the thing that's interesting, guys. This is what I want to say, like at a holistic level for anyone watching. Maybe you haven't gotten the kind of results yet that you are hoping for, that you want, you feel you maybe deserve. The implementation piece is big, for sure. It's huge. But the piece that precedes that is understanding that what you think are your unique challenges are absolutely not. You have no unique claim to those fears and resistances. You guys know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has them. Now, in Kimberly's case, it's like, oh, I'm too young to be taken seriously by these parents whose kids I want to, support in their education. But hey, Allison, but it's just fear. It's just fear of showing up. That's all it is, right?
Yes.
I imagine this is going to sound funny to you guys who have been knowing me for a while, but I feel like I'm just coming out of my shell recently. And I feel like I'm in the last 6 months, I have become better and better at really showing the world who I am. And the reason I didn't was just fear. Each one of us in our heads dresses it up in all these specific particular reasons. Well, I'm too young. Well, I'm afraid of video. In my case, like I have a long history of showing people the real me and having them go, you're too much for me, right? The too intense thing. Well, more and more I realize I just, it's a cliche, but to serve the people who I'm here to serve, I got to be more and more and more me. You know, so for all of you guys watching, the overarching thing to take away here is no matter what you think the totally plausible reasons why you're not showing up are, it's just fear. It's just fear, and it's wearing a different like Guy Fawkes mask. You know what I mean? So now let's talk about some wins. Because one of the reasons I picked you guys is because you've had great wins as a result of just showing up, pushing through the fear, trusting the process, doing what you're told. You know?
Well, I'd say that's probably one of the biggest ones, is doing what you're told.
Yeah, it made it easy for you. I know. It's like, how about you just tell me what to do and I'll do it? Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
sometimes
you guys,
that's not the hard part. Sometimes the hard part is listening.
Yeah. So, like, let's start with you, Andrea. Like, share with everybody watching that really big, exciting win that you were just like could hardly sit still from.
Oh yeah. Well, we had just created a 6-week program, and I just was talking to somebody about it, and she just bought it in full that day, and we haven't even launched it. We haven't even started it. It's just like, whoa, it happened so fast, right?
Yeah.
So it was like really cool because I was like, finally, what I've done is working.
Normally, I wouldn't ask you to talk about dollar amounts, but I think in this case, because it's so much more than you were, then you had a financial sort of set point that was about here, and then all of a sudden in 1 minute, it just goes to here. So would you be willing to share the dollar amount of that paid in full?
Oh, sure. It was $5,500.
$5,500.
Yeah. One program. Sorry. It's 12 weeks, not 6 weeks.
Okay. Can you talk a little bit about the process of enrolling?
Yeah. I love your process of enrolling because, I'm not going spamming people in their DM. Yeah. I ask for them if they would like to message me, or if I can send them a message just straight up on a post, and they say yes. And I just start talking to them. I don't even like pitch an offer or anything. I kind of get to know who they are, where they're at, if they're a good fit for the program, and or which program we have that we could move them into or whatever. Yeah. Now it's really been working, like filling up our spaces for our 21-day, and we've had them both full. So it's been really, really just talking to people. I don't feel like I'm sales pushing. I don't feel like I'm in their face about what I'm doing, Yeah. It's just easy. It's easy marketing. It's not, I don't have to worry about sales funnels or like any of the click funnels and shit getting started. Yeah. I know that it's something that I will need, because now that I'm understanding how the marketing works, I know I'm going to need something, but just getting started, you don't need any of that. And I was worried about having to spend all this money on all of these extra things. Yeah. And you don't have to. It's very simple when you just learn to communicate with people and touch them, talk to them about their needs, and then be able to meet that need with just a simple, hey, you know what? I've got this program. Do you want to hear about it? And if they say yes, then then all of a sudden they're like, okay, well, send me the link. I'm signing up,
You're like, what? I mean, yeah, no, okay, sure. I'll send it right over.
Yeah. And it was just a simple conversation. It just wasn't even a sales pitch at all. So that's what I like about the enrollment process is you just get to know your prospect, your client, and then they feel heard and listened to. Yeah,
totally. Then it doesn't even do it. It does it a disservice to just say that's important, because I think you're like most of us, where I have my own definition of heart-centered, and that really is the kind of people that sort of had the audacity to try to go into a coaching business or some kind of business for themselves because they really think they have something that could help people. And what you both do clearly, totally demonstrably helps people. Right. And so you like, it's enough that we sort of rallied the forces and actually hung our shingle and said, yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to call myself, a coach of some sort. And then you discover, oh my God, like there's this whole other thing I have to learn that has nothing to do with my expertise, called marketing. Mm-hmm. And what I find one of the most consistent things among heart-centered coaches is we don't want to sell. I mean, do you guys, is that your experience too? Yeah. And so not having a way to enroll people that's sort of aligned with our values. I was thinking about this the other day and I was like, I talk a lot about freedom and income and being your own boss and serving people. What I haven't really talked a lot about is think about how many people go without because you didn't have a way to help them, like to communicate to them, to market to them. Think about how many people in the world don't get the thing they need from you, and maybe not at all, because you rightfully don't like sales. You know what I mean? And from that perspective, it's like, oh my God. And so I was very, very happy to discover that you used the process. It worked a treat. And then, so Kimberly, let's talk about you had a big day a while back.
I did. Yeah. It's been definitely a wild ride, I want to say, over the past month and a half.
Yeah.
I've gone from this to this. It's just exploded on itself. And I mean, it's not a bad thing. I'm not complaining. No one's going to complain about having too many clients. But it's definitely shown me wow, this really does work. And much like Andrea said, when you talk to people, when you for me, it's easy because parents love to talk about their kids. Right. Yeah. When you talk to people, right, and I don't even come at it with a sales approach. I come at it with me talking to them, and whatnot. And half the time, they're the people that message me, right? Yeah. And then we have a conversation. I won't say a word, and there will be some sort of question from them after, a couple days of conversation or whatever. Oh, so what is it that you do? Can you tell me what a program with you is like, or something along those lines? I didn't even have to say anything.
Yeah.
Right. It's along the lines of, it's centered coaching, really.
Yeah. What I want you guys watching to know is that, I mean, I talk about this a lot, but it's one thing for me to talk about it. It's another thing to hear from you guys in your own words. I want people to understand that in order to bring your services, what you got, the courage to sort of claim to the world that you did, to bring that to market, you don't have to go out of integrity. Mm-hmm. And I think that so many of us, because there's so much just cesspool marketing. I mean, generally speaking, marketing is a pretty nasty business. It's a pretty amoral group of people for the most part. And so what happens is we muster up the courage. We declare that we're going to do this thing. We then get exposed to all the predatory marketing because it all targets new people, right? And then from there, I personally know of a lot. And so I have to extrapolate that there are many, many more people who just go, you know what, fuck it. I'm not doing this. And that very literally is not bringing your gift to the world. Literally is that. I don't like hyperbolic language unless it's appropriate, but it's literally like, oh, I got to do those things. I'd rather not. And then your gift is not ever brought to the world. You are a candle that never got to light 1,000 other candles when you could have been. You could have just lit them all up. So I think it's important for everybody in the group who watches this to know that it's not just me banging on about this stuff. It's you guys. Kimberly, talk to me about how your point of view and maybe your confidence in the marketing part has changed?
Well, I know that we had this conversation earlier in terms of just the changes that I've gone through as an individual, as a business owner, but as an individual as well. The idea that people are not going to listen to me because I'm younger than a lot of my clients. Why would they want to listen to me? And you said something to me. You said, well, just because you're younger doesn't mean that you don't know something that they don't.
Right.
And I had an epiphany. It was a bit of a personal moment, and I had an epiphany just in one of those quiet moments of my day-to-day life. And I was like, you know what? They don't know what I don't know. They also don't know what I do know.
That's right.
People don't know what you don't know unless you tell them
what you don't know.
So for me, for me, like being running a student success coaching and tutoring business, it's easy for me to forget that people are actually requiring my services. If they could do it themselves, they would do it themselves, but they can't because they don't know any better. And there's nothing wrong with that. And not everyone's cut out to be a teacher, right?
Well, that's just the thing.
Kids don't necessarily listen to their parents all the time.
Right. And that's just the thing is like, none of us could possibly know everything.
Yes.
There's too much to know. Right? So I'd much rather get a feel for who you are, your vibe, and based on that, and maybe a little bit of like, qualifying your expertise, then go, okay, this thing that I don't know, I'd like you to do it.
Exactly. And that's the real miracle, I think, of just talking to people, because then you talk to them not even on a sales sort of pitch. You're talking to them just as a person, just as someone that you're getting to know, right? It's really nice that way. I like it. And said method, this was a really, really big win that I know I was super excited about. About a week ago, I got nine clients in one day. In a period of 24 hours. So that was something that sent me like over the moon. Over the moon.
I remember the messages.
Yes. Yeah.
So 9 clients in one day, 9 clients in 24 hours. Andrea, you have, in addition to that one beautiful, just like, hey, let me just pay in full. Did you say you filled two groups or programs now?
Yeah, we ran our 21-day adventure.
I'm working on making more groups. Yeah.
I'm glad, but I was asking Andrea.
Yeah, we did start a paid membership group, and then we did we're just in our second month of running the 21-day adventure. And so both of them were full, 10 people in both of them. People asking when we're doing it again, and we decided it's January because honestly we're trying to meet the time zone thing, and it's one of us stays up way too late for 21 days.
Yeah.
But it's a hard work. Like, it's a lot of work. You got to show up and do the work, but I love it. Like, it just is stepping me into exactly the path that I want, and being able to show up and say what I need to say. But I wouldn't have been able to do that had I not overcome the video, and also the scarcity in the marketing. Like, I was so freaked out about it because of the other coaches that I worked with. That was huge for me. I'm like, I don't want to pay $300 a month for something I don't even know is going to work for me. I'm not even making that online. So spending it before you're making it also doesn't really make much sense. Right. But you just had this. It was really scary to me. And like, even that one time that you said to me, like, the last time I talked to you, I thought you were going to vanish. You thought, I really was considering, like, do I really want to do this? But I bought a couple of little programs for you, and I just started working on that content and understanding how that works, and getting clear about messaging, and then putting it into the action. And people just, like, when we put up that we're doing our 21-day program, and I've had like 4 people since we started say, when's your next one? It's like you said, as soon as one goes, the rest just rolls. And it really does. And I'm not even boosting anything. I'm not paying for ads or marketing.
It's all just profile, just on your profile.
This is all profile and my page.
And your page. Yeah. So Let me say hi to Camila. Hi, Camila. Good to see your little head icon there. The little icon that represents you. Nice to see you. I'm gonna get a little more honest here than maybe you guys were expecting. For me, the piece about people getting results. Now, both of you guys will know this to some extent because I talk about it in the groups, not in the free group, but in the paid groups more. The piece about the people that pay me money getting results is really important to me. You know, and I'll just acknowledge that, yeah, this could be, you know, an opportunity for me to virtue signal, but it's not. You know, it's like it really matters to me. And over the last month or so, I mean, there was a period there where I was seriously considering, like, you know what, fuck it, I'm out. Seriously, like, and then because I don't like the industry, I do like that I stand against the industry, and that I can have guys, girls like you, be proof that, like, you don't have to sink to that level in order to have a business. You know, but there's been some deep soul searching behind the scenes for me. And literally you two and a few others, I sort of just shifted around over the last week or so and said, yeah, but look at the impact of people who do the work. Look at the way it changes people. You know, it changes your guys' realities, your lives. And that's what it's about. I mean, it's obviously about making money too, and I'll never pretend it isn't. I very much like having a good lifestyle and making money. I never want to sort of seem overly virtuous, you know, like, oh, for me, it's only about helping people. That's bullshit.
Well, Manny, too, like, you don't have high expectations when it comes to making money. You're not like, hey, you're going to have $1 million launch,
right?
When you don't even know what a launch is and you don't know how to do it. You know, one of the best things that you asked me was like, what do you want to make a month? And just realistically, what do you want? And I said, you know, I'd like to get back to this. And you said, well, we can do that.
Yeah.
Like, it was realistic.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I like that, your approach of standing against all of that bro marketing, because the expectation of me having to do a $50,000 launch, and I don't even know how to do any of it. You know what I mean? You're real. You're just realistic. Yeah. This is where you are. This is where you're going to start. Give me a goal and I'll help you get there. And you're doing that. Like, it is your integrity game is strong.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's brainstorm and just sort of rock out a little bit on this whole idea of positioning, because even though I've been saying in the paid group, like, okay, this next we're talking about this, next we're talking, it always keeps coming back to positioning. You know what I mean? And like, Andrea, you more so, I think, in this instance than Kimberly, you're in a space where there's a lot of same. You know what I mean? Like the other, like, tantra experts and intimacy experts, if I didn't have facial recognition, I couldn't tell one of them from the other. They're all doing the same stuff. What has been, if this is even something you can answer, like, what's been your biggest aha moment around this idea of positioning that we keep coming back to in the
yeah, but there's one workshop we were in together, and you had said, like, you know, Andrea, your positioning is really great. And I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about. I'm just honestly following your system. And when it comes to, when people reach out to me, they're like, oh, I see you're a sex educator. Can I ask you a question? Or, so I think my positioning is on par because people are talking to me about what I want to be doing, and it's not way off topic or rails, you know, like, yeah. And so all that I have to say is doing the work that you've shown me to do. I still actually don't really understand the positioning thing. But I keep getting told that I'm doing a good job, so I just keep doing what I'm doing.
So I guess the takeaway here is either dive deep into positioning or just do what you're told.
Well, you're so good at, like, putting it all together, right? So it's like you have to think about all of these things, and if I do all of those things, I just believe I'm going to be in the right position.
Yeah,
I'm not going to try and focus on my positioning, because one, it's working for me. Whatever I'm doing is working. So I'm not going to stop. I understand like the concepts, and we did that whole month on positioning. Like I totally understand it, but if you do the work in the order that it's presented, your position should be intact. Like you should be there.
Yeah, that's true. I hadn't even thought about it that way, but yeah, that's true. Kimberly, what if anything has been your biggest insight with the idea of positioning yourself, how you show up?
I think the idea, again, to come back to it, of making sure that, well, not making sure, but of creating a space on social media where you are the expert, right? And it's not about, I don't think, like Andrew was saying, it's very difficult for myself as well to look at the bigger picture and be like, okay, this is what it's going to look like. I tend to focus more on like, okay, these are the small steps to get me there, and these are the small things to put those pieces into place. A perfect example, actually, was someone who contacted me on social media, who was like, hey, I've seen your post. Hey, I've seen this. I agree with a lot of what you're posting, but never once, and I went back through all of them, never once has he commented, liked, he's not reacting to anything, but he's seeing it. And I was the first person in his brain when he was thinking about his kids going back to school. And I'm starting with said client in October. So, and he's got 2.
There it is.
Yeah. So it's not necessarily about like, I have to make every piece of content perfect. Every piece of content has to be like this amazing, but I've continued to show up. I've continued to put it out there. I've continued to put like my heart into what I'm doing. And that shows up to the point where complete strangers are contacting me. Right. Yeah, so in terms of positioning, I think that's the biggest thing, is you never know who is watching and who's looking.
So the thing that I'll tell both of you, the thing that you're doing right when it comes to positioning is there's a clarity about what you put out with your content and how you put it out.
Yes.
There's a clarity there. There's a distilled quality to it. And that's really what positioning either is or isn't. I think we've all, let's see who just, oh, hey, Amanda. She says, that's perfect. I got a new client just 2 days ago that had joined my group, but had never said boo to anyone. Yeah, totally. You don't know who's watching, gang. The problem that most people the issue that most people have, or the error that they make, is their content is all over the map. And that's because they don't know that you have to think about your content from the perspective of the audience watching it. Right? That's a big shift. And that's what both of you do very well. You're sort of on brand all the time for whatever your specific brand is. And so, like Andrea, in your case, the way that I read your content is it sounds honest and it sounds simple, not simple, but like, let's say not hyperbolic. Now, I didn't ask for this, but I've got a lot of tantra people, intimacy people, sex educators in my friends list. And all of them, it's this big hyped up thing, where it's like, you're going to touch the eye of God and we're going to live in Bali together. And it's like, whoa. And then when you see the 9th woman, who's like doing naked yoga in front of something, and it's silhouetted, so you can tell she's naked, but you can't see anything and all that stuff. It gets all same. And then you show up and you just sort of clear and lucid, but the things that you say aren't so hyperbolic.
Well, I kind of am going off of your method of be realistic. Like, just it seems to be working for you. So I figure, and I think that's that imposter syndrome, right? Like, I think when I started in May, when I signed up to work with you, it was just like, I was so scared to share my real story because, like your story, mine's pretty rough as well. And people are just like, oh, that you're too much. But then
Yeah.
there is some people that want to know how you got through that, you know, like, and being able to have those life experiences and be able to share them. And I just decided to go raw and real, and my whole life is put on my profile. Like, honestly, if someone met me, they'd be like, you know, I had a person meet me and they're like, I can't believe you write that stuff. And I'm like, it's just my truth. And so the same as you, live as you're real. Like, I don't want someone who meets me and be like, oh, well, that's not who I thought you were.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Yep. Absolutely.
And be real. Just show up the way you are, who you are. And it doesn't take tits and ass to do that either.
No, it really doesn't. You can even be a sexual wellness teacher, and you still don't need tits and ass to do that.
Yeah.
So there's an object lesson for all of you guys.
I don't think that it takes. I don't think it takes. Andrea, you said that you don't have to fake anything. Like, you're right. It doesn't take a whole lot of fake to do it, but it does take a really large amount of confidence, right? To show up as yourself and show up as who you are, and to be who you like. You have to know who you are first before you can tell other people who you are.
Yeah.
How did going through the question mark story model help you to clarify that, Andrea?
Like, that was like so amazing to me,
because that was your big turning point, wasn't it?
Yeah, I put out my backstory, and then I worked on my hero journey in response to my backstory. But I mean, it was really boom. I just, came in like a wrecking ball and said, here's my life. And everybody was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Where is this coming from? Like, so much happened at that moment. But I think that's also me. I do come in like a wrecking ball, and I am a little bit crazy. So, and I'm ready to share my story with the world. I'm tired of the shame around that or whatever it is. So,
yeah, totally.
But when I sat down and started that whole question mark story and I had like 4 months of content written out in like 20 minutes. It just like right now, it just like every story, and then it's about how to actually write it, your copy and how to say what you need to say. But that when I watched that, it took me about 3 days to watch the whole thing. And then when you said pull out a bristle board, I had 4 of them hanging on my wall, and I just kept adding, and I'm still using it. So I think I'm on month 2 now.
Yeah.
Out of the 4 months I made.
That's one of the beauties of that process. It just gives you a new lens through which to share your content. 100%. Yeah.
And if I don't know what to share, I can just eeny, meeny, miny, moe it on my little board, and okay, this is where we're at. Let's talk about that. It just made it really easy for content creation. I was like so scared of that. What am I going to talk about? How am I going to talk about that? And with that question mark story, complete clarity, complete.
So good.
Yeah.
Kimberly, did you go through the question mark story model as well?
I think when we started working together, you were kind of halfway through it. So I can speak about what it's done for me like halfway through, which has been amazing, obviously, but I can't go like the whole process. It's been really helpful in terms of getting clarity. Like I said before, you can't show up as yourself if you don't know who you are. So even though I'm not kind of person that's going to go, like I am not in my business, because I deal with parents with children. I have to kind of be a little bit more censored perhaps in what I share, but it's helped me get really clear on who I am as a person, why I'm doing what I'm doing, and how I really like where I came from and how I'm getting there, right? And where I'm going.
So I guess the last thing I'd like to maybe touch upon is from where you guys both started till now, does the future for your business look more optimistic? Does it look, you know what I mean? Like what does it look like now? What does it feel like now?
Well, Eugenia and I just put together a few programs and stuff, and our goal will to do a $200,000 a year this next 12 months.
Oh, you can't see me shaking my fist in positivity because the tiny little camera.
Yeah, wherever it is. But yeah, so that's what it's done for me, is made me think about more than like, oh my God, what's going to happen next month?
Yeah.
We know what we're going to be doing for the next 12 months, and we have these goals and stuff, but we added up the money, but that was at the end of all of the creating of the things, and we both like blew that off. And I'm like, you know what, maybe we should pay attention and be like, okay, thank you for bringing this money into our life or something, because we love what we do so much. It's really almost like a bonus that we get paid for it.
Yeah.
You know, and the results are really amazing, that the people who have showed up and done the work in our program as well, the results are massive. And so with that, and knowing all of the people that we get to reach out and touch, and I actually get to do this on a regular basis, not the hit and miss that I've been doing for the last couple of years, you know, but it's going to be consistent. It's going to be awesome. Like, just setting that up makes me feel really happy. That's more than what I said I wanted to make a month with you, but it's what I know we can do easily and not get burned out, or our bandwidth get so bad.
Yeah. Love it. What about you, Kimberly?
Just in terms of, like, I'm not stressing about next month. Like, for me to, I literally almost 2.5 times my income in the space of a week. And like, to me, like, I'm like, you know, it's awesome, because I'm thinking like, wow, like I'm not stressed anymore. I'm like, okay, so this is gonna happen. It's allowed me to make plans for the future. It's allowed me to make like a list of things that I want to happen and things that I know are going to happen. And it's also given me confidence and like the momentum to like, I'm at this stage now. Just imagine where I'm going to be in the next, like, this has all happened in the space of really like 4 months, right? Like, I mean, in terms of multiplying my income, that happened within the past like week, but but in terms of this journey, this has all happened in the past 4 months. Like, imagine in another 4 months where I'm going to be, and then in the next 4 months, like, and then next year, like, because once you start going, it's hard to like stop that momentum, and I don't want to stop the momentum.
Yeah, totally.
Going. It's so exciting, right? Because I feel like I have such a clear sense of enthusiasm about the future and what's going to happen than I did.
Well, I just have to say, I mean, I could not be more proud of you guys. I could not be more just like, you're the reason I do this work. Literally, you guys are the reason I do this work, and other people like you. I see that Amanda's on the call. Amanda had a $10,000 day with me once when she was in one of my programs. She sold 2 $5,000 programs back to back without doing anything, pretty much, you know, just following the content strategy. Let's see who else we have here. Allison and I have rethought and refigured her whole business model, and she is now becoming the oddball copywriter, actually, but she's becoming a copywriter. Is there anyone else here who well, Bridget's on, and I mean, you guys both know Bridget. She's had I can't remember what she said, but she's had some really great wins. They're escaping me at the moment. You guys are the reason I do this, and I need to remember that. Maybe I need to interview, you know, my students more often so I can tap back into it. But yeah, I'm just so thrilled for both of you guys. It really makes me think that the best way I could probably offer my program is like as a year-long thing, because there's so much that has to be learned, you know, and I think that people would really, really benefit from all that support over like a whole year. Somebody just said, Amanda just said that she may need to talk to, oh, this is awesome, to Allison about copywriting. Let me know and I will make an intro. I'll absolutely do that. That'd be 2 of my students. Yeah, that's a win-win. I love it. For anybody watching.
Your team is amazing too. Like, I've worked with a lot of your team people in this journey as well, and you have an amazing, supportive team. I go to you guys first before anything.
Let's give them a shout out. Let's give Rob a shout out. and Glow a shout out, Kimberly a shout out. Who else do we have on team? Chip. By the way,
yeah.
this is not really, this is kind of random for people watching unless they're in the program, but we're bringing in sales training support, enrollment training support via Chip. That's really exciting. We got Shannon Broad, who is she's our volunteer moderator and also copy coach. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it is actually a pretty cool team. If I forgot anybody on the team, I'm sorry, but I think I got all of you guys. We have a new setter that we're just breaking in, so I won't name her yet, just like not jinxing it. But other than that, yeah, thank you so much. If anybody watching this, if you've been on the fence and you want to learn about working with me, just say work with Manny in the chat and Kimberly will actually reach out to you. That's how that'll work. So if you'd like to find out about what we do, how we do it, how it can help you, put work with Manny in the chat and Kimberly will reach out to you. I want to thank you guys so much for setting aside this time. Thank you. I think I got more out of it than anyone else did. So thank you so much. And remember, work with Manny in the chat and we will get in touch with you. Okay. That's all I got. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.